Hi, this is Allie from the Terra team, and today I'm going to walk through the Terra Notebooks Quickstart. Jupyter Notebooks are one of 3 interactive analysis tools integrated right into your Terra workspace. It's an open-source web application for creating and sharing documents. The documents can include live code and equations, visualizations, and narrative text. What can you do in a Jupyter Notebook? Clean and transform data, visualizations like plots and graphs, statistical modeling, and another popular use, machine learning. In Terra, notebooks are in interactive analysis mode. They let you do real-time statistics, visualization, and testing. They run in a cloud environment VM. In this video, I'm going to show you how to find the Notebooks Quickstart workspace, how to set up the Notebook Cloud Environment VM, and I'm going to walk through the Jupyter 101 tutorial notebook and run the demo notebook for Data in a Workspace Data Table, which is option 1. To find the Quickstart, you'll log into app.terra.bio, go to the View Workspaces card, and search for Quickstart in the Public tab. You'll need to make your own copy to work in. Let's hop over to Terra and see how this works. Here I am on the Terra homepage. To find the Notebooks Quickstart, click on View Workspaces. This is a list of all of your workspaces. If you click on the Public tab, you can search for Notebook or Quickstart. There are several Quickstart tutorials. We're going to open the Notebooks Quickstart right here. This is a locked version. In order to actually set up a cloud environment and run a notebook, you're going to need to make your own copy, which you can do by clicking on these 3 vertical dots on the right. Click on Clone. You'll want to name your workspace. You'll want to name your workspace something that makes sense to you, and choose a billing project from the available projects in your drop-down. You can leave the bucket location, and you don't need to choose an authorization domain because this is all public data. Clone your workspace by clicking the blue button at the bottom. It'll take a few minutes. When it's done, you'll have your own copy. You'll see the name you gave your workspace right here at the top. This workspace is intended to give a hands-on practice running a notebook analysis in Terra, from setting up the cloud environment to understanding what Jupyter Notebooks are, to learning how to import data from different locations in the cloud to your notebook environment. The dashboard gives an overview of the workspace, what's in it, and how much it will cost to run, how long it will take. There are handy step-by-step instructions that you can open by right-clicking in a new tab. You can take a look. You'll know you're in your own copy because the name you gave it will be up at the top, and your billing project will be here as well. Let's take a quick look at the Data tab. The workspace includes some data preloaded from several different locations. Those are all explained in the notebooks, which you can find in the Notebooks tab. There's an optional tour which we'll dismiss this time, but I encourage you to take the tour if you're on your own. And there are 5 different notebooks. They might not be in the greatest order. You can reorganize alphabetically, which is nicer. In order to run one of these notebooks, we're going to need to have Terra set up a virtual machine for us. That's going to take a few minutes. Let's go ahead and do that. You can start by clicking on the gear icon at the top right. There will be a page that explains the default cloud environment, which has some packages and a particular size VM. The default is fine for running this notebook. We're going to use the default, but if you wanted a custom environment, you can click the Customize button right here. We're going to go ahead and click Create, and then it will take Terra a few minutes to spin up the cloud environment. You can see in the widget that it's creating right here. Let's hop back over to the notebooks. As I said, there are 5 notebooks in this workspace. The first is a Jupyter Notebooks tutorial, which we're going to start with. There are 4 optional notebooks which walk through an example of what you can do in a notebook. Each one takes data from a different place in the cloud. The workspace data table, spreadsheet in the workspace bucket, Terra data library, or public data in BigQuery. Let's start by opening the Jupyter Notebook tutorial, even though the cloud environment isn't quite ready. While your notebook is spinning up, you can read through a read-only version of the notebook. The Jupyter 101 tutorial has a lot of explanations, what notebooks are and why they're useful, and it also has hands-on exercises to help you understand how to do things in a notebook. You can open any notebook in Edit or Playground mode. Playground mode will let you run all the code, but it won't let you save. We're going to select Edit. When your virtual machine is running, you'll see the widget at the top right changes to a pause icon. The default notebook will have a table of contents on the left, which is really helpful, especially when you have a long notebook. The tutorial starts with a bit of information about Jupyter Notebooks, which is useful if you've never run a notebook. There are some sections that are optional reads that you can click to expand. And if you go down to section 2, Notebooks Basics explains from the ground up how to run a notebook. So the first step is to take the pre-installed tour if you want, and then the next thing you want to understand is the difference between code cells and markdown cells and how do you run a code cell. The nice thing about a notebook is there's lots of explanations, and there's live code which can be in Python or R. You'll know which kernel is running by here at the top. The run button up here, or you can use a shortcut which is Shift Return, and you can see that it ran a little piece of code. The notebook goes on to explain how to add a cell, how to remove a cell, how to work in a markdown cell, so if you wanted to create more documentation. Then there are some more explanations and some more exercises, an interactive plotting example, more commands, and there's additional tutorial notebook resources. When you're done looking at a notebook, you can close by clicking on the green X at the top of the notebook. Notice that your cloud environment is still running, which means that you're paying for it. If you want to pause it, you can click this pause button. And if you want to delete it when you're done, you can click the gear icon and go down to delete environment. We're not going to do that right now. I want to show you one of the optional notebooks that gives a taste of what you can do with a notebook analysis. I'm going to use option 1, which is data in a workspace table. For context, if we go back to the data tab, this notebook is going to import data from a sample table, which you can access by looking here. This is synthetic phenotypes associated with 1,000 genomes genomic data, and you can see there's a sample ID and age and some other demographic and lab parameters there. Click Edit for edit mode again. Notice it has the same table of contents, and because it's a tutorial, it has a fair amount of documentation. I'm just going to run all, which you can do by going under Cell and Run All. The table of contents shows you where the notebook is in the analysis. Anything that's in red has not been run yet. So we could hop down to that and you can see it's running all the code. And this notebook generates some plots of the phenotypic data. Here's a plot of the low density lipid values for the people in the study. There's another plot of baseline BMI versus LDL. And lastly, a box plot. This is just intended to give an example of the type of things you can do in a Jupyter notebook. For example, if we wanted to change this plot, we could take the code that generated the one that's in the notebook, copy it to a new cell, and replace LDL with one of the other variables, which we can find by going up here. Let's try age. And click to run it. It's a little bit of a strange age distribution, but gives you an idea. Again, when you're done with the notebook, you can click on the X. And when you're really done, you'll want to delete your environment. You can delete everything, including the persistent disk, which is the storage associated with your cloud environment. And you're done. You'll know that your cloud environment has truly been deleted because the widget will now say there's none. And if you want it to be doubly sure, you can click under Cloud Environments and you can see all your environments that are running. This is a way of keeping track of what you're paying for. For more help and more resources, see the links at the bottom of the video or support@support.terra.bio. Thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoy your analysis in the cloud on Terra.